When you choose courage over shame, motivational speech script, there is a moment in every person's life when you stand at a crossroads. One path leads you deeper into shame, quiet, heavy, familiar. The other leads you into courage, unsteady, honest, liberating. And the truth is, courage never feels like a roar in the beginning. It often feels like a whisper, a shaky breath, a small step that says, I'm choosing something different today. Shame thrives in silence. It grows in the dark corners of the stories we don't tell and the truths we avoid. It convinces us we are alone, broken, or not enough. And when we believe that, we start shrinking ourselves to fit into spaces that were never designed to hold our full selves. But courage invites us to show up exactly as we are, messy, imperfect, and real. Courage says, your worth is not up for negotiation. It asks us to stand in our truth even when it's uncomfortable. And when you choose courage, you reclaim something shame tried to steal: your voice, your dignity, your power. Choosing courage doesn't mean you never feel fear. It means you feel fear and still choose to be seen. It means you risk being misunderstood because authenticity matters more than approval. It means you step forward even when your inner critic is shouting, because courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision that something else matters more than fear. And here's the beautiful part: every time you choose courage, you make it easier for someone else to do the same. Your honesty gives others permission to be honest. Your vulnerability becomes a lighthouse for anyone lost in shame's darkness. Courage doesn't just change your life, it transforms the lives around you. One, shame shrinks you. Courage expands you. Shame is one of the most constricting emotions we experience. It doesn't just make you feel bad, it makes you feel small. Shame tells you that you don't belong, that you are unworthy, that you need to hide parts of yourself to be acceptable. It whispers that if people really saw you, your fears, your flaws, your failures, they would pull away. And because shame thrives in silence and secrecy, the more you listen to it, the more you disappear inside your own life. Imagine walking into a room and instinctively pulling your shoulders inward, lowering your voice, shrinking your presence. That's what shame does emotionally. It tells you to stay quiet, stay hidden, stay invisible. It convinces you that everyone else has it figured out and you're the only one stumbling. Shame doesn't argue loudly, it seeps in quietly, taking root in the stories you tell about yourself. And here's the dangerous part: shame doesn't just shrink your confidence, it shrinks your possibilities. When you allow shame to decide your actions, you say no to opportunities before they even arrive. You avoid conversations that could heal you. You sabotage relationships that could support you. You silence ideas that could transform your future. Shame limits your world long before the world limits you. Courage, on the other hand, is expansive. It doesn't erase fear or insecurity, but it loosens the grip they have on you. Courage says, you may feel uncertain, but you are still allowed to take up space. It teaches you to stand taller, not because you're perfect, but because you're worthy. Where shame contracts your heart, courage opens it. Where shame says, hide, courage says, step forward. Choosing courage is an act of reclaiming your voice. It's the moment you speak up when your instinct is to stay silent. It's the decision to try again after failing. It's admitting you don't have all the answers, but showing up anyway. Courage expands your life because it expands your access to authenticity. When you stop hiding, you start living. 2, courage begins with honesty. Honesty is often talked about as a virtue, but when you truly look at what it asks from you, it becomes clear why it takes so much courage. Being honest isn't just about telling the truth to others, it's about telling the truth to yourself. And sometimes the hardest truths are the ones we have tried the longest to avoid. Courage begins with honesty because honesty is the moment you stop pretending. It's the moment you stop running from the parts of your life that feel uncomfortable or painful. It's the moment you decide that clarity, even when it stings, is better than comfort built on illusion. Honesty breaks the cycle of self-protection that shame creates. Shame thrives when you hide, but honesty opens the curtains and lets the light in. Think about the small lies we tell ourselves. I'm fine. It doesn't matter. I'm not hurt. These aren't lies meant to deceive others. They're lies meant to protect us. But protection built on denial is fragile. It cracks under pressure. When you avoid your own truth, you start living in emotional disconnection, drifting further away from your needs, your boundaries, and your authentic self. Courageous honesty begins not with shouting your truth to the world, but with quietly acknowledging it inside yourself. It starts when you look at your reflection, your actions, your patterns, your wounds, and say, this is where I am. This is what hurts. This is what I want. This is what I fear. That kind of honesty can feel like standing naked in a storm, but it is also the first step toward real strength. When you practice honesty, you choose clarity over confusion. You choose responsibility over resentment. You choose integrity over image. And most importantly, you choose growth over stagnation. Honesty forces you to confront the gap between who you are and who you want to become. Courage is what carries you across that gap. 3, vulnerability is the birthplace of real strength. For most people, vulnerability feels like danger. It feels like stepping onto a stage without armor, without a script, without guarantees. We grow up thinking vulnerability is something to avoid, something fragile, something weak. But the truth is the opposite. Vulnerability is the foundation of every kind of strength that actually matters. Emotional strength, relational strength, moral strength, and spiritual strength. Vulnerability is not about oversharing or exposing yourself recklessly. It's about allowing yourself to be seen where it matters. It is the courage to say, this is who I am, even when you fear that who you are may not be enough. Vulnerability is the moment you choose truth over perfection, presence over performance, connection over control. Strength begins here because vulnerability strips away the illusion that you can handle everything alone. It interrupts the lie that you must be flawless to be worthy. When you let someone see your uncertainty, your fear, your tenderness, or your hopes, you are choosing authenticity over armor. And authenticity is always stronger than pretending. Think of the bravest people you know. Their strength didn't come from never falling apart. Their strength came from their willingness to feel deeply, fail openly, try again, and stay compassionate through it all. Vulnerability is the birthplace of courage because you cannot be brave without risking emotional exposure. There is no courage without vulnerability. The two are inseparably intertwined. 4, owning your story is more powerful than hiding it. There comes a moment in every person's life when you realize that running from your story is far more painful than facing it. We often think that hiding our past, our mistakes, our fears, or our vulnerabilities will protect us. We believe that if we can just keep certain chapters locked away, no one, including ourselves, can judge us, abandon us, or see us as flawed. But hiding your story doesn't erase it. It simply allows shame to narrate it for you. Owning your story means stepping into the truth of who you are, not who you pretend to be. It means refusing to let shame dictate the narrative of your life. When you choose to own your story, you reclaim authorship. You move from being a character controlled by your past to being the storyteller shaping your future. When you hide your story, you live in fragmentation. You show the world one version of yourself while burying the parts that feel heavy or imperfect. You create emotional distance, not only from others, but from yourself. That distance becomes a barrier to connection, authenticity, and growth. You can't fully love yourself while rejecting the parts of your history that shaped you. You can't fully connect with others while concealing the experiences that made you human. Owning your story transforms the meaning of your pain. When you hide your wounds, they remain unhealed, but when you acknowledge them, you give yourself permission to grow from them. Healing begins with acknowledgement. Strength begins with acceptance. Freedom begins with truth. 5, courage builds connection. Shame destroys it. Human beings are wired for connection. We thrive when we feel seen, heard, and understood. Yet one of the biggest barriers to authentic connection is shame. Shame tells us we are unworthy of love, attention, and trust. It isolates us by convincing us that our true selves are too flawed to be accepted. When we listen to shame, we close off from others, retreat into hiding, and create distance where closeness could flourish. Courage, on the other hand, is the bridge that leads to connection. It requires vulnerability, the willingness to show up fully even when there are no guarantees. Courage says, I am willing to risk being misunderstood because being authentic is more important than being liked. This willingness to be seen opens doors that shame keeps tightly shut. When you choose courage, you engage honestly and openly. You speak the truths that matter, set boundaries that honor your needs, and express feelings that might feel uncomfortable. These actions create safety for others. Courage fosters trust because people sense authenticity. Shame isolates, courage unites. Every courageous act you take influences the people around you. When making connection possible, where there was once fear, 6. Every courageous choice rewrites your future. Courage is not a single dramatic event that changes your life overnight. It is a series of decisions, often small and quiet, that accumulate to reshape who you are and the life you live. Every time you choose courage over fear, over shame, over self-doubt, you are rewriting your future, not in some abstract sense, but in tangible, real ways. Think about your daily decisions, speaking up when you'd rather stay silent, admitting a mistake, asking for help when overwhelmed. Each of these moments is a seed. Each courageous choice plants the potential for growth, connection, and transformation. You may not see the full impact immediately, but over time, these choices compound, creating patterns of resilience and integrity that define your life. Courage also reshapes your internal story. Every brave decision reinforces that you are capable, resilient, and worthy. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstance and start seeing yourself as a creator of possibilities. By choosing courage, you begin to live intentionally, aligned with your values, not your fear. Your future is forged in these moments of bravery. Conclusion, choosing courage over shame. As we come to the close of this journey together, remember this life does not demand perfection, it demands presence. Every time you allow shame to dictate your choices, you shrink. Every time you choose courage, you expand. You step into the fullness of your humanity, your authenticity, and your power. Courage is not a one-time act. It is a practice, a series of small yet profound decisions that, when compounded, shape the trajectory of your life. Owning your story, embracing vulnerability, and speaking your truth are not easy tasks. They require discomfort, self-reflection, and the willingness to confront parts of yourself you might have long avoided. Yet these are the very acts that lead to growth, healing, and deep connection. When you stop hiding and start embracing your narrative, your failures become lessons, your pain becomes wisdom, and your imperfections become the source of your strength. Courage transforms ordinary moments into opportunities for extraordinary impact. Connection is born from these acts of courage. When you choose to be honest, set boundaries, admit mistakes, and show your authentic self, you not only rewrite your story, but also create spaces where others feel safe to do the same. Courage is contagious, vulnerability spreads, trust deepens, and relationships thrive. Shame isolates, but courage unites. Every courageous act you take has the power to influence your family, your friends, your community, and even strangers. The beauty of courage is that it rewrites your future with every choice. Each moment you step forward despite fear, each time you speak your truth, and each act of vulnerability becomes a seed that grows into strength, resilience, and possibility. You begin to trust your own voice, reclaim your power, and live intentionally. Courage is the tool that allows you to live the life you were meant to lead, not a life dictated by fear or shame, but a life defined by honesty, connection, and wholeheartedness. So, as we part today, take a deep breath and remind yourself that courage is always within your reach. It begins with a single step, a single brave choice, a single moment of honesty with yourself. Thank you for choosing to listen, to reflect, and to embrace your own journey of courage. May you carry this message into your life, stand tall in your authenticity, and inspire others to do the same. From my heart to yours, thank you for being here today, and I wish you courage, strength, and joy in every step of your journey. Goodbye, and take care.